Hello, this is Dr. Tamsin Astor, Chief Habit Scientist, and this is the newsletter for Wednesday, June 15th, 2022. Belonging, judgment, and interconnectedness. Dr. Brené Brown defines belonging as the spiritual practice of believing in and belonging to yourself so deeply that you can share your most authentic self with the world and find sacredness in both being a part of something and standing alone in the wilderness. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are, it requires you to be who you are. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are, it requires you to be who you are. Research on belonging and in-group, out-group shows us that when we label people and create others, we as humans are willing to hurt each other in much more extreme ways. And the process of dehumanizing is a fundamental part of this issue. So for example, that classic Stanford experiment where students were resigned to be guards or prisoners, and they had to end the experiment early because it started to become unsafe as the guards became too violent towards the prisoners. The guards effectively dehumanized the prisoners, even though they were all just college students. So there are countless examples of this in our society, even large-scale ones where we see genocide and deep-seated judgment and pain caused to the other. Somebody who writes a lot about this, who I love to read and follow, is Dr. Kristen Neff. And she takes on this issue when she reminds us that we can acknowledge our interconnectedness and recognize that the intricate web of cause and conditions in which we're all embedded can make us less judgmental of ourselves and others, right? So she says that judgment is black and white, whereas discriminating wisdom recognizes complexity and ambiguity. This issue feels deeply connected to me when we think about what's going on this month, June, Pride Month, right? There are so many people still in the world who are extremely homophobic and transphobic and are heartbreakingly cruel to our LGBTQIA community brothers and sisters. And when they insist that this is a choice, or that Pride Month is about sex, or for example, when I drive towards Columbus and Dayton, Ohio, from Cleveland, where I live, there's a billboard with a sign that says marriage is between one man and one woman, which is just beyond cruel. A mentor of mine who came out in adulthood when he was married likens this experience of being gay in a straight world as similar to being a college student, for example, who grows up in a family who tells him, you will study medicine. This is what is expected of you. All the men in our family study medicine and become doctors, but this student wants to be an actor, a poet, a librarian, but is being pushed into a box by those around him, is being pushed into certain behaviors by those around him. So how can we reduce the judgment? A couple of ideas are: we can recognize our common humanity. We can recognize our common humanity. We can let go of self versus other and identify our common humanity, our interconnectedness. The second is to apply this discriminating wisdom, right? Rather than judgment, which allows us to recognize when things are just unjust, but without leaping to judgment, right? So this is about leading with compassion. And think about where in your life you can authentically just be you with no filters. These are the communities in which you belong, when you don't have to change your essential you-ness. So as the mother of a queer child, this is deeply important to me. As the friend of queer people, this is deeply important to me. As the employer of a queer person, this is deeply important to me. And as someone whose main value is freedom, this is deeply important to me, because being able to be free, to be who you are, requires the courage of authenticity. And this requires the rest of us to lean in and celebrate and support and advocate and be allied in a deeply empathetic way, not in a performative, I fly the flag, the rainbow flag for June, and then it comes down kind of way, right? Back to love, beloved Dr. Brené Brown, pride is a feeling of pleasure or celebration related to our accomplishment or effort. Pride is a feeling of celebration related to our accomplishment or efforts. So let's celebrate. P.S. I'm a cisgender white woman, so if you are part of this community and think that I've spoken incorrectly, please educate me. I'm on the path of allyship, and I'm sure I will make a lot of mistakes en route. PPS, to those who say that pride is just about sex, it is about so much more. It's about the pride and walk pride and right to walk down a street holding the hand of someone you love and not being scared of physical or psychological abuse. It's about the pride and right to be listed as the parents on your kids' health forms if the both parents have active and legal roles in their children's lives. It's about the pride and right to access healthcare on your spouse's insurance. It's about the pride and right to access gender affirming healthcare. It's about the pride and right to be called by your preferred pronouns, and so on and so forth. So on this June 15th, in the middle of Pride Month, I encourage you to lean into the interconnectedness, our common humanity, and apply some discriminating wisdom before you jump into judgment. Thank you.